What's going on, guys? We here. Let's go. We here with another tournament. So, before we get started, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, of course, so we can get the big boy subs, get them numbers up. So, shout out to you watching right now and everybody watching. Yeah. So let's get to it. This is round one of the James Altucher norm tournament. Actually, this was literally a month ago, so we're finally getting back around to with all the candidate stuff that's happening, right? And or that did happen. Shout out to Jan for winning, right? But this is we're now doing some candidate or after the candidates, we're getting back to our recaps. I have a tournament in not this week, but shoot, is it next weekend? Actually, no. Yeah, something like next weekend, guys. So I'll be in Charlotte. We're going to have more recaps and stuff like that coming, of course, as you already know. So this is round one against Jonathan Kogan. Very strong. In fact, very underrated. Scored pretty nicely here. Didn't get a norm, but was close in this tournament. For Jonathan was very close. He's underrated as well. So I played white first round. He didn't have a lot of games, right? Like in the database and stuff like that. Come to find out that I forgot who told me this, but he was actually... he came up in the Naroditsky time. In fact, he kind of stopped playing, but at one point when Naroditsky was like number 2 or 3 for his age group, Jonathan Kogan was like number 10 or 12, right? So it tells you this guy was actually, really strong, and he just stopped playing for a while. So hey, when I did my profile and looking at his games and stuff and did my scouting report, I couldn't find a lot of information on him recently, right? Because not even online stuff, so it was kind of hard to prep for him. But okay, we go through a Sicilian, right? He is a Najdorf, and I'm like, oh, cool, we go on Najdorf, right? So I play the Najdorf myself. Let's see what he goes for. He go A6. I go Bishop G5. By the way, the title of this one is called Escape Artist Number 3. Bruh. I gotta stop putting myself in them kind of positions. But this one is Escape Artist number 3. Of course, number 1 and 2, I'll link those videos for you guys so you can see Escape Artist 1 and 2. But this one is Escape Artist 3. So Bishop G5, E6. You go E6, I go F4. This is all theory so far. Bishop E7, Queen F3. Everything's like literally theory. Nothing to think about. Queen C7, Castle Queenside, Knight BD7, G4. This is played all the time. Literally nothing new. H6, we always take on F6. And then the idea here is to play H4 next. We're supposed to play H4 next. Really, you don't play anything else. And I know for a fact that I'm supposed to play H4. In fact, some of the lines go like H4. I even know that you actually play, I think you can play Knight B6. Knight B6 is a move, and also Rook B8. But the idea is actually letting them play G5, and I think it's Knight B6. And then after G5 anyway, right after G5, we capture, and then, actually, sorry, no, we play Bishop takes D4. I'm looking at it from Black's point of view. So here, takes, and then we go Queen C5 first. Queen C5, attack the Rook. And if Queen D3, you have a nice tactic. Pawn takes, but then I have B4 there. So you have to know what you're doing. It's actually a really sharp line. Really, really sharp stuff. I didn't want to go down this, and I was like, I wonder if he knows it. He probably knows it. So after Bishop takes, I kind of wanted to go in different territory and different water. So I chose Bishop G2, which is an inaccuracy. It's just not the greatest move, right? And the reason for this is because he can play what I knew he could play, which was G5 and we lie. That's a big boy move. That's nice. In fact, the idea here, and I know this from both sides, here being a Najdorf player myself, was actually with G5, the idea here is after taking, well, first the dark squares are all black. Like this knight on E5 is going to be a nuisance. It's going to be extremely annoying, and I don't want to deal with it. But then I realized, well, wait, if I don't take it, he's going to take me, and then the E5 square is gone anyway. So I'm like, well, I either take and give him this. This is why H4 is important. So never will I do this again, obviously. But so I'm already like slightly worse. So I'm like, oh, this is terrible. So I play F5. I play F5 with the idea of, obviously, if you push Knight D5, I want to attack this pawn. So he goes, easy move, Knight E5. And I didn't know where to put this queen at. I'm like, do I go E2? Do I go G3? The engine says Queen to H3. Queen H3. Okay, go. Right, but so I went practical. Queen E2, just try to line up here. Maybe we have some sacks later. But Black's just totally fine, bro. Like, literally that quick in the Najdorf, I have a slightly worse position because I didn't play H4. I should have played H4 here, which I knew I should have. I just wanted to try something different, and, like, I didn't want to go down that line. But you have to, if you're going to play certain openings and etc., you have to go down certain lines, right? So B5, if you want obviously the greater quality. So B5. F takes E6, F takes E6. I take because I'm like, well, I got to do something. I got to open up the file here. I did check a move like Knight F5, which is crazy. And after Knight F5, the idea here is after pawn takes. If you guys saw from Chicago Open round 1, right? It was called Matter of Time. Where the same idea with Knight F5 and Knight D5 when I was playing the 2600 GM. Almost beat him, real close to beating him, right? And having Knight D5 with the Knight F5 option. But I take here and Bishop G2 opens up the Rook. So Knight D5 is going to be really, really strong here. But I was like, I mean, I'm not winning. Like, and the engine says that black is still better by minus 1.7. So if I'm sacking a piece and he's still better here, like, this is not going to work, my guy. Like, I'm not about to do this, especially this being the first round. This is round 1. So f takes e6, f takes e6. I go rook h to f1, natural move, attacks the bishop. He castles. I'm like, dang, like, he just castled. Like, what do we even do here? So I'm actually on the back foot. It's like -2 right here. a3. Bishop d7, he develops his pieces. I go queen e3. I start to get tactical a little bit because if knight takes g4, there is like queen h3. And I'm just trying to do stuff. I'm just trying to be annoying. He goes rook a to c8. I did swing the queen over to h3. I'm attacking the pawn. He goes bishop g7. Bishop g7, right? I trade the rooks off because I'm like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I did not put the bishop on f1 because I'm like, look, bro. Hey, we can, you know, trade some pieces off if you like. Here, queen b6 was supposed to be played. Right now, it's like -2.5. And he plays queen... actually, sorry. Wait, what happened? Oh, when bishop f1, he did go queen b6. I just went bishop b2. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Cool, put the bishop here and defend stuff. Let's see what happens. Rook to b8. I think he's going to go b4. So I play knight a2. I mean, it's not as... It's not good for me. Because, like, what's my plan? I don't really have anything to do. I'm just kind of shuffling pieces. Because, again, I didn't go for what I was supposed to with h4 early in the game. So now I'm stuck with this position. It's just worse for white. Knight a2, he goes knight to g6. I'm like, man, he getting all the squares. Like, this is annoying. So I go queen e3, right, with ideas of maybe knight f5 if e5. He goes knight f4. I back the bishop up to f1. Lots of maneuvering. And then he plays bishop to e8 with the idea of maybe, like, bishop to g6. And stuff like that. But I was like, I mean, okay. You know, I feel like I'm still okay here. I go queen d2. Because if I move the knight, then d6 is going to be hanging in some cases. He goes bishop g6. I go back to c3. Perfect. With the idea of, okay, if you go b4, right, I have some plans here. Which, of course, he does. He goes b4. A takes b4. Queen takes b4. I go knight b3, right? So I go knight b3. I'm thinking, like, wait, I got some compensation. I have something here, right? Queen takes d6 is looking good. I mean, there's definitely some things we can do. Like, I'm like, okay, you know, this is not as bad as I thought. So he goes rook b6 to defend everything. I go queen to e3. Right? And now here, I'm like, yo, COE, right? Oh, yeah, let's get it. Calculation over everything, right? Every time we say that, it pops up, shopcantymerchant.com, right? We got some new stuff, too, coming in the mail as well. So, and also to the shop itself. So look out for that, shopcantymerch.com. Get your COE gear calculation over everything, right? So we get back to the game. Here, I was calculating a lot. After queen e3, I have this rook b6 thing, or obviously queen b6. And this is what I looked at, guys. Let me show you something here. So why we bring up COE right there? Watch this. So he plays bishop takes c3. I'm like, let's go, right? I take back on c3, and I'm hoping he checks me. I'm literally hoping he checks me so bad, bro. I'm like, come on, bro. Check me, bro, right? Check. Because if he checks me, I'm going to go king d2, and the queen is almost trapped. It's not trapped, but it was almost trapped. Because if the rook moves somewhere, like, I mean, I have a rook a1, which is kind of funny. I could play like rook a1. Your queen looks weird on b2. Now, there is rook takes b3 in here, but it definitely was calculating some things about his queen being trapped and like strange maneuvers and etc. So bishop takes c3, though I could take with the queen. I took back with the pawn, and then I actually missed this move right here. Queen takes e4. Bruh. I'm like, bro, come on, bro. I thought I had him, big fella. What is this? Oh, my goodness. Right, because he's about to mate. So if you take the rook over here, you're going to get mated. But... believe it or not, it's actually very drawish. After queen takes and then play rook d4 and then knight a5. That's some GM stuff, like engine stuff. Like, what the heck is this? Like, I'm not trying to go into this endgame, to be honest with you. Like, I'm just down. Okay, yeah, I'm down a pawn or whatever, right? I think I am 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'm down a pawn, and it's doubled here. But I mean, his pawns aren't the greatest, so it makes sense how this could be equalish. And I have piece activity. But I wanted to keep the queens on, so I go queen f2. Right, I want to actually steal the rook. He goes rook c6, get out of the way. By the way, we're getting in time trouble. We're both getting in time trouble here. More so, actually, him being more than me, but definitely time trouble. I go rook d4. I'm just trying to dislodge the queen. He goes queen e5. I go king b2, tuck and roll. I'm just trying to... he's getting long time, so I'm moving quicker. Knight d5, I thought was just best. He didn't play it. So when he played a5, I was like, bet. So let me go queen d2. King g7, bishop g2, I hit the rook, and he goes rook b6, and I'm like wiggling out of this somehow. Rook c4, tactics are everywhere. Like, there's a check here, right? I'm still holding this. You can't really progress the way that you want to. My pieces are kind of active, so I was feeling good here. Queen of b5, he's attacking the rook. He's also threatening a4. So I go rook c7 check. He goes king f6. And then I hit him with a calculation move. Make sure COE, right? COE. Make sure you got your COE gear on. Calculation over everything. It's white to move. What do you play right here? And I played it instantly because I saw this. I was like, ooh, I wonder. And I knew that his time was low here too. I mean, he had like maybe 2 minutes, maybe something like that. I have to like go look at the score sheet to see what he had, but he was low in time. And it's white to move here. You can obviously pause the video or you can just sit here and watch it. It's white to move. What do you do here? I found this move after king f6. I knew he would go here because back rank is just kind of strange. I mean, it just feels weird. But bishop f1. Sheesh, big boy. That's a big fellow move. Bishop f1. And now if he takes, then the idea is queen d4 check. So queen takes with queen d4 checks. And I'm actually picking up the rook now. I'm actually winning. So bishop f1, he has to step off. He's also lower on time, so I'm feeling more confident. I'm like, I mean, I may be able to go on and win this. Like, there's possible. It's very possible that I could win this game if he messes up. So queen e5, rook here, with the idea, obviously, of a4, I'm going to take. And then he found a boss move. Bro, look at this move he played. He played queen c5. I was like, oh, snap. Oh, snap. Luckily, I had time and I didn't instantly move here. It is white to move. What do? Luckily, I didn't instantly move, and this is why you take your time. You should take your time and calculation over everything, right? I've learned a lot from the last 2 tournaments. I mean, every tournament you go to, you should learn something, and if you don't, then that's on you. So I've learned so much, and going into this next tournament, I'm so confident and so much more experience from these last 2 tournaments that I mean, it's only up from here, to say the least. But white to move here, right? What do you do? Make sure you're calculating. COE. What do you do? What do you do here? Well, in fact, you have a few moves. Queen d4 was not on the radar for me at all. And just trade him. Rook a6. Bro, again, I'm not trying to trade. But rook a8. And the reason why we are making a rook move is because there's a threat. Let's say we make a move like h4. Rook takes b3. GG. Get the man off the board, right? The queen was actually x-raying this rook. And he checked me at the same time. Like, that was a strong move. And I almost missed this whole idea of this. I almost missed it. And I was like, ooh, I was like, whoa, let me chill. So I played rook a8, got out the way. It's also kind of annoying because this kind of stuff is here. So he goes knight d5. I go bishop g2. He goes queen e3, right? And then I go king c1. I'm like, if you're going to trade, we're going to trade my way. Right here, in fact, it's completely winning. It's actually -7 after queen g1. Like, it's -8 right now. And he didn't play this. And the reason is because this, and knight e3, which is apparently just crushing, bro. That's some engine stuff right there. I guess you can, like, what? But then I'm losing the queen, man. That is, I mean, there's so much. That is just bananas there. Like, the engine destroys everybody. Queen takes d2, king takes, and knight, king c1. He takes, I take back, and knight f4. And here I'm like, yo, this is gonna be hard to lose, actually, for me. 2 pawns in the center, like this. Well, of course, this one's the pass one, but I can grab this one. And these can actually hold, and I'm pretty sure I can hold this position. So I go bishop f1, he goes d5. I take on a5. Now I'm not down a pawn anymore. e5, he tries to push him. I go c4 to try to get rid of one of them. All right, he goes d4, but then that allows me to go c5. So now I'm like, wait a second, big fellow. Hold on. Don't block with your face. We got time here as well. And now we got a pressure. Rook c6. I'm like, cool, tempo. Bishop b5. Another tempo. Check. And king e7. And then we actually repeated moves right here. He plays rook of b7. Yeah, I think he played. Oh, sorry. No, I went c6 maybe. I don't have the rest of the notation. It actually ends here, strangely enough, because there's a draw. But what happened here? What did he play? And we just repeated moves from here. I think I played c6 or bishop c4. No, I did. I went bishop c4. I went bishop c4 to hold the knight. He went rook d7. I went bishop b5. He went here. And we just repeated. And there was a draw. And I escaped. Like, I get up out of there. Like, what is that right now? Of course, how do I escape? Again, if you're going to play this line, it's a very sharp line. Bishop to g5. You go f4. You play all the right moves. Castles, we play g4. We take, if we're going down this line, we have to go down the line all the way. h4 is a move, and there's no better move, in fact. There are other moves like a3, and you can even move this knight. But this is the best move if you want to continue with the aggression and pushing the pawns. So you can play g5 yourself. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. This is Escape Artists. This is round 1 of the Elite Norm Chess Tournament a month ago. So we're actually going to do round 2, cover that one too as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you guys check out shopcantymerch.com. One more time, let's pull that up. Boom. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys on the next video.